Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our weekly office hours. This week is a bit of I don't know. I guess they're all fun, but I did love the videos that we made featuring you, Justin. Um, Picking up, so we were at Inbound, I should say, right? For you folks who follow us, and Justin was going around picking up PDFs and one pagers and stuff at various brands and booths, and I just love the content. We'll go ahead and post those here in the comments so you can see the one that we did last week. But we're releasing another one this week, and we're gonna continue to do this. So what we're going to focus on today is teaching how to turn your PDFs into interactive assets that convert, right? And there's a lot of value in this approach, which we'll dive into here in a second. But for the folks out there who don't know us, I'm George Soto, one of the co-founders here at Asset Mule, joined by my co-founder and CEO, Justin Dorfman. And Justin's really an expert at this topic and has been doing this for over a decade now, maybe a decade and a half. And so I'm excited to dive in here today. If you do have any questions, go ahead and comment on the comment wall here. You're probably watching this either on LinkedIn or YouTube. And towards the end of the session here today, we'll dive into your questions. Unless it's like something super urgent, then do let us know. Be like, hey, this is urgent. Can you answer right now? And we'll take some time to do that. Um, Without further ado, Justin, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, cool. No, I'm super excited about this as well. And those videos, sort of taking the one-pager PDFs from the booth and turning them into interactive assets has been really fun. We'll show one of those today that we haven't shown yet. So that'll be interesting. But just taking a little bit of a step back, I think, the benefits of an interactive, personalized, trackable asset versus a static generic PDF are pretty obvious, but the numbers really do speak for themselves. So we've been working on Asset Mule now for just about a year and a half, and we've have enough folks using the product and have used it enough that we now have some real hard metrics in terms of how these interactive assets perform versus the static PDFs. And what we're seeing is 10 times the views than a PDF, right? 5 times the engagement, 3 times the conversions, right? And even, when used across the entire buyer's journey and sales process, reducing sales cycles by up to 3x as well, right? So it's clear that this is having an impact. But the big question is, what do you do if you have an entire library of PDFs, right? You've built all these things, like, you want to use them. How do you sort of go from this world of PDFs to now this interactive when you've invested in all these PDFs? And maybe you have a tool like HighSpot or Seismic in place that's storing all these PDFs, or maybe you're using Google Drive. But that's really the topic today: is how do we turn these PDFs, this library of existing PDFs, into interactive sales assets? And we're going to step through 3 different approaches today. I would say one is sort of a lightweight approach. One is a heavier weight approach. And another is the heavier weight approach, but with some support, with some professional services. And, in that, we'll talk about our new professional services offering, where we can actually help you get your account set up with all your PDFs now as interactive assets and snippets and all that good stuff. So let's dive in and let's take a look at these 3 different approaches to turning your existing library of PDFs into interactive assets. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to hop over to Asset Mule. Now, so starting with the first approach, right? And this is the lightweight approach that I mentioned. And it's, but what I mean by lightweight is it is personalized, it's interactive, but it's not as personalized and interactive as if you're building these things again from scratch, right? And that's our PDF upload template that you see here. So actually, taking a step back for those that aren't as familiar with Asset Mule, what we are is we're essentially a platform that helps you create personalized, interactive, and trackable sales assets. And our library of templates, as you can see here, that you can build from include one-pagers with videos and interactive demos, case studies, competitive pages, decks and proposals, new feature one-pagers, outbound follow-up asset, event follow-up assets, all kinds of different templates that you can use. But as I mentioned, one of our templates here is this PDF upload template, where if you do have existing PDFs and you want to add a layer of personalization, a layer of interactivity, and be able to track those PDFs, you can do it using this PDF upload template. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use that. I'm going to go ahead and hit copy template here. And I'm actually going to pretend I'm one of our customers or one of our users here at Tracker, a previous company that I worked at as well. And you'll see here, we do have a personalized header section here where you can add your logo and leave a space for your customer's logo here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, or your prospect's logo. I'm going to put tracker.com here. And what's really cool about this is you can upload logos if you have them on a file, but especially for those prospect logos, instead of having to go to Google, download their logo, upload them, format them, you can just put in the URL here and click get logo, and we can actually just pull that logo for you. So now we've got this personalized header section. In the middle, we're going to have our PDF uploaded in here. So I'm going to grab the Tracker one-pager PDF here and upload it in here. And you'll now see we have that PDF in the middle. And then at the bottom, we've got my calendar, right? We have this section where you can put your Calendly or HubSpot or Chili Piper calendar in here. All you have to do is add the embed code that you can export from a lot of these tools, and it will be in here for your prospects to schedule with you. So now that this is created, I can save this in our library. I'm going to call it the Tracker one-pager. I'm going to save it to our library. And what that means is now when your sales team uses Asset Mule, they'll see it in that library here that they can create assets from, and they can do that last mile personalization by putting the logo in there. Maybe if it's not their calendar by default, they can swap in their calendar, and then they can share and track it. And I'll show you those steps. So what they'll do is they'll go ahead and create an asset from this template, and again they can put their prospect's logo in here. Let's say I'm at Tracker. I'm a salesperson at Tracker. I'm selling to Estee Lauder. I can put esteelauder.com here. Grab the logo I want to use. Now I've got that personalized header. I've got the PDF in the middle. I've got my calendar again. Again, if it's not my calendar, I can swap it for maybe a snippet that we've set up for you, or that your product marketing team or whoever owns sort of setup of the Asset Mule account has for you, and you can pull that in there. And then you can go ahead and call this Estee Lauder Tracker one-pager for Estee Lauder. I'm going to save this. And now I can share it with my prospect, and I can track when they engage with it. So what I may want to do first is just sort of make sure everything looks good. This is what it's going to look like on their end. And then when I'm ready, I can share it as a link in a screenshot, a link in an animated screenshot. And we really see this as the best option. It does, drive the most engagement and the most click-throughs, and you'll see why. When I grab that and I send it to a prospect in an email, you'll get this nice, beautiful scroll through. They can see their logo on it, right? And that really drives that click-through to the page. And again, yeah, it's personalized for them. We've got the PDF in the middle here, and then we've got the calendar at the bottom, and also the book a meeting button here, which they can click on. And again, everything is trackable now. So in my email, I get that email notification in real time. The salesperson would get that, right? Saying, hey, somebody just viewed your Tracker one-pager for Estee Lauder. And then in Asset Mule, they can see what they did on that page, right? They viewed the asset and they clicked the book a meeting button. So that's the easy way, right? With your existing PDFs, you can just upload them into that template, add your logo. So a little bit of personalization there, add the prospect's logo, and sort of turn them into that interactive sales asset. But I'll say it's minimally personalized, right? It's just that header section. And it's minimally interactive too, right? It's just got sort of the book a meeting function, right? So there's a more involved, but a more impactful, more engaging way to do this as well. And that's essentially to go to our library here and use your PDF as guidance to create a interactive version, right? And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. There's this Gong for HubSpot one pager that I picked up at Inbound, right? Where Gong, I picked this up at the Gong booth, and it's really focused on Gong's integration with HubSpot, so their app in the HubSpot marketplace, and specifically how it's better than the HubSpot CI conversational intelligence native product, right? So you'll see here it's got that competitive table, but it's pretty generic, pretty static, right? So the idea would be to take this and take one of our templates here. Maybe it's the competitive comparison page, maybe it's the interactive one pager that we have here, and use it as use the PDF as guidance, grabbing the copy, grabbing the images, and basically embedding them in here. And that's what I've done. Beyond this, by the way, beyond this template library, you can also create your own templates from scratch. And I took more of that approach just because I'm more familiar with our system and how to use the various different components. But it's pretty straightforward to do. And this is what I created as a Asset Mule interactive version of that, right? So you'll see right from the get-go, it's much more interactive, much more interesting looking. Not beyond the interactivity, you'll see we're really pulling in Gong's colors here. We're really pulling in the look and feel. And I didn't have to do that as I'm no designer, so nothing sophisticated that I had to do. All I had to do was actually create a theme for Gong just by putting in their website URL, gong.io, and it actually pulled in all their colors and fonts into this template here. And you'll see I added this nice sort of personalized welcome message section where I can put in the name of my prospect, right? I can then drop in a quick Loom video is what I did here, quick 30-second Loom, just saying, in this case, hey, great meeting you at Inbound, right? I know you were interested in the Gong's HubSpot integration, wanted to follow up with this asset, right? I've got the logos here for social proof. And then this is where it really starts getting interesting, right? Instead of these static images, right? I actually have embedded a video of a product video of the Gong HubSpot integration that they can actually check out here. And even more interesting, and this is where it really gets exciting, is I found a interactive demo, Storylane actually interactive demo on Gong's website. And I thought, why not embed that right here into the one pager so that my prospects, or in this case, the Gong salesperson's prospects, can actually get a feel for this product, right? And not only just see screenshots or videos, but actually take a tour of it. And we have our brand new Storylane integration where you can add a Storylane component to your template and just put in the URL to your Storylane demo. If you don't have a Storylane demo, you can sign up for free and create your first demo in just a matter of minutes. And then once you have that demo, you can just plug in the URL to that demo here. And now there's this live interactive demo right in the one pager, way more interactive than that PDF that I showed, right? This is probably the main thing that I kept from the PDF, right? That comparison table here, showing why Gong and it is better than the HubSpot CI native product. And then, I wanted to add more social proof. So we've got a quote here, and I actually found a nice customer testimonial video here too. And you'll see it's actually from HubSpot. They actually use the Gong product. So I thought, if Gong's team is using it, that's the best social proof, right? If they're using Gong over HubSpot CI, right? So you've got that in here. And with Asset Mule's, snippets, you can actually, swap in from the library of different quotes. So you'll see here, sales manager here, but maybe we want to focus in on a different persona. Maybe it's an enablement person that we're going to be sending this to. So you can pull in a different quote in here that's more relevant for that prospect, right? And then finally, same as the last, we've got this this calendar here that they can book a meeting with me from, right? So again, this is how we would build it in Asset Mule using that one pager, that PDF as guidance. And then when we're ready, we would go ahead and create an asset from it. And again, let's say that the product marketer set this up, the salesperson would be accessing this from the team page, right? As you'll see here, creating an asset from it. Again, plugging in the name. I already did this here, but plugging the name, adding in their video, as I mentioned, maybe swapping out that quote for a more relevant quote. And then when they're ready, they would go ahead and, again, preview it, make sure everything looks good, and then share it with the prospect. Again, I'm going to use the animated screenshot, the link in the animated screenshot, so that I can just plug it into this email here and send it off to my prospect. And again, now we really get to see this interactive with the personalized video in there, and you can even see the interactive demo here at the end. So that's going to drive the prospect to the page. And now we'll see all the interactive elements and all the tracking that we can do here, right? So they can watch that little personalized video. Maybe they go through and watch the product video. They click through the interactive, the StoryLean demo, right? And they check out the customer testimonial video here, the HubSpot one. And as I mentioned, everything is tracked here again. So if I go back to my email here, my inbox, I get this email notification that somebody just viewed the Gong for HubSpot. But now when we look at the tracking, we see a lot more, because again, there's a lot more interactive elements for them to engage with, right? Not just the book a meeting button, but now we've got the videos and the demos and things that they can click through, and really great just signals that there's intent, there's interest. We understand sort of what they've looked at, what they understand about our product, and we can follow up with them in the most appropriate way. So that is the second way. And as I mentioned, more involved, I mean, much easier if you use our templates as a baseline and you're just sort of plugging in copy and imagery and videos in here, but also you can build it from scratch. But either way, a little bit more involved. So that kind of turns us to the third approach, which is our new professional services offering, where we can actually do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And again, the case where it works is most common for a lot of our customers is maybe they've been using a HighSpot or a Seismic, or maybe they have all these assets, these PDFs already in their Google Drive. They sign up for Asset Mule. They want everything recreated in a more interactive format. They want all those snippets, those quotes, those images to be populated in the snippet library. And we can actually do that for you. So in your first couple weeks of onboarding, we'll just take all those PDFs and we'll build out your library of Asset Mule interactive assets ready for your team to use and start getting value from. So just to give you a little bit more details on this offering, of course, we built a one-pager on our professional services using Asset Mule. And you'll see here, again, it's convert your static PDFs, docs, decks. They can be finished assets like PDFs and decks, or they can be, a Google Doc with just copy, right? And we'll sort of grab images from your website and videos from your website to sort of fill in the pieces. But just any sort of guidance you can give us in terms of messaging and imagery, or what you want to put in that template, we'll take them. We will then build interactive Asset Mule versions of those assets for you and populate them into your account. At the same time, we'll build your brand theme, the colors and the fonts. We'll import all of that. We'll import all your snippets so that you have alternative quotes and alternative stats and images and videos that your sales team can pull in to personalize those assets. And then we'll set them up ready for you to use so that you can share them with your prospects, as I showed you, and you can start tracking engagement with them in no time and really get to value really, really quickly. So in terms of the packages that we have here, we have three basic packages that you can choose from. So the first is just ad hoc one-off stuff. So if you don't have a library of templates, but you want support in building your first one-pager, your first case study, your first competitive page, and so on, you can engage us on an ad hoc basis. And it's essentially $500 per template that we build in there. And again, we'll build the theme, we'll build the snippet library as part of that. And it's 2-day turnaround. You'll get that template ready for you to use. On the other hand, if you do have all those templates in one of your existing systems, we sell a package of up to 20 for $5,000. And we'll get those 20 templates built for you, all the themes and the snippets and all that great stuff. 2 business day turnaround per template. So it's just about a month or so to get everything in there. But, within the first 2 days, you'll have already your first couple of assets, and we can talk about which ones you want to prioritize in there. And if you have libraries of bigger than 20 assets, we can, add to this, right? $250 per additional template in this package. So essentially a 50% discount versus the ad hoc approach. And then a third professional service is more of a strategy service. So one of the things that you'll hear us talk a lot about is the importance of not thinking about assets as one-off sort of check boxes in your sales process, but really mapping out your buyer's journey, right? The awareness stage, the consideration stage, the decision-making stage, and even post-sale, the onboarding and success stage, right? And thinking about what are the key questions, key objections, key bits of information that your buyers and their stakeholders within the organization need to see and know to gain confidence in your solution at that stage and to move on to the next stage, right? So we can help you map out your buyer's journey, think about those bits of information that your buyers are going to need, and help you identify the assets that you need created at each of those stages. And then, fill those gaps in your library. And then over time, analyze the performance of those assets. So you saw our analytics, right? We can help you understand what are your top performing assets? What are those assets that maybe aren't performing as well? What are reasons why they might not be performing as well, and help you make recommendations in terms of improving those assets to improve performance. So that's an ongoing service. That's $1,000 a month. But that's our professional services. And again, the idea here is to really help you very quickly and easily get your PDFs converted into these interactive, personalizable assets that then you can track and really drive engagements and conversions with these strategic resources that you have now available to you. So I'm going to pause here and answer any questions that you guys have. So it looks like there are quite a few, actually.
Yeah. So, Josh had, thank you so much, Josh, for the comment. Josh mentioned that this is a great feature system for creating customized branded assets for folks who maybe are, not a designer by trade or don't know how to code, which can get tricky. Josh, that's absolutely the case.
And there's a couple of different places for that, right, George? Right. So there's the brand theme, as we mentioned, right, where you can just put in the URL for that for your company, and we pull in your colors and fonts. But also the logos is a great area, right? Like, I mean, I can't count how many times I've heard people complain about logos, and we love our salespeople. I was one of them, but and they do their best, but pulling in those customer logos, and they're formatted in different ways. And even people that are more handy with design, having to pull up, Figma or Illustrator and try and invert those logos and pick out the backgrounds and all these things. So being able to just put in a website URL and get a pre-formatted logo and be able to, with a click, invert it, right, if you've got a dark background, is pretty powerful.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even myself, who, I'm not a Photoshop expert or Canva expert. In fact, I find Photoshop actually easier than Canva. Some might argue that, but I don't want to do that, right? I don't want to have to go and look for logos and then and then go and modify them myself in Photoshop. Even though I do know Photoshop decently, and so having that integrated approach is super powerful. Well, for the folks out there, just real quick, I know there are a couple people watching on LinkedIn. If you do have any questions or comments or feedback, if you like our hats, maybe let us know.
Oh yeah, we didn't call out the hats.
Yeah, we do have our no PDF hats. We say that affectionately, but sometimes it's time for the new generation of technology or approaches to move into the mainstream. And I know that there are a lot of different solutions out there over the last couple of years that have popped up in the market trying to move us into this new way of doing things, right? This new interactive experience. And you see folks with digital sales rooms and these sort of things, right? what I love our approach, we're not quite that, you do have a functionality or a template in our system called, Asset Hub, which Justin, I think is closer to like a link tree, right? But for B2B and sales, right? So something easy to put together. But ultimately, as you mentioned earlier, we're talking about creating pieces of content or sales assets that are specifically designed for that particular stage in the buyer's journey, and creating an interactive, intelligent, trackable experience, as Justin mentioned. So really, really excited about that. And folks, if you do have any questions, we are here to be of service. And as Justin mentioned, we are not only just providing technology, but services now, because we know that folks need to do more with less. And going out there and hiring teams like we used to, it's not the way of the future. It's not the way of the present, right? And we've seen that over the last couple of years. I think organizations have started to rethink efficiency, rethink how many people do we really need, right? Like ultimately, if we were to hire software to do certain things, right? Software as a service, um, then we should be more efficient, right? So this is just the next generation of that approach in my perspective, or from my perspective. So I'm really excited about the way that we're trending.
Yeah, and by the way, if you are interested in learning more about the professional services, this is a relatively new offering. So we don't quite have a page up on our site, but we do have the asset that I showed you guys. So feel free to DM George or myself. We can send you that one pager to check out, and more than happy to jump on a call and discuss. Asset Mule is designed to be self-serve and easy to use. So, if that's the approach that you decide to take, that's awesome. That's what the product is built for. This is just, again, a great resource to have if you need some extra hands on deck for a heavy load time where you need to build a ton of assets, or right at the beginning of your usage of Asset Mule, just to get that all your existing PDFs in the system. We're here to help you and alleviate any sort of friction that you have in that process as much as possible.
Awesome. And I think one of the unique things is Justin, as I mentioned earlier, has got a decade and a half of experience, not only on the product marketing side, supporting sales with these very sales assets, but also on the sales side, as he mentioned, right? So I think this is really, really interesting, because we need to think about things holistically, right? It's not just on our side as a marketer or on our side as a salesperson. It's alignment, right? Again, that good old alignment statement. And so check us out. Listen, if you're also interested in just learning more in general, we're happy to hop on calls, and we're very, very involved in as much as we can be in communities out there, go to market communities. So if you just want to talk shop, that's okay too. We're happy and excited to share our thoughts and insights. And Justin, I think we're coming up to the top of the session here today. We'll go ahead and wrap up. In case anyone else has any other questions, again, feel free to reach out to us directly on our website. You can go to assetmule.ai and book a meeting, and it goes right on my calendar, and we can talk shop there. Or if you want to go on LinkedIn, add us, DM us, and we can do that as well. So without further ado, folks, thank you again so much for joining us today. If you are not an Asset Mule user yet and want to check it out, go to assetmule.ai. We have a free forever plan. You can go and have access to all the functionality and see if it's something that's going to help you and your organization. If you are an existing user, thank you. Muchas gracias. Really, really appreciate it. And if you're not following us on LinkedIn, go ahead and click on the follow button. We try to share as much valuable content, fun stuff, jobs that we find out in the product marketing community. We have a new newsletter called the Product Marketing Digest that we've just released the third issue. of, and we're very, very excited. We're starting to see a lot of subscribers on that. So thank you for you folks out there. And without further ado, have a wonderful day.